What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Medicom Toys Mafex Avengers Endgame Iron Man, the Mark 85. And so here we have the Mafex Iron Man posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's run through his accessories. Iron Man does come with 3 different head sculpts. We do get the helmeted head, which looks really nice. We do get a helmeted head where his faceplate is up. And then we do get an unmasked head, which looks really nice. Iron Man also does come with several sets of hands. We get a pair of fists, a pair of relaxed grip hands, a pair of grip hands, a pair of splayed open hands, and a pair of splayed open hands for his repulsors. He does come with 2 different wrist cannons or arm cannons, which look really nice. I do like those. He does come with the nano gauntlet, which has 2 different hands. We do have the open palmed hand, and then we do get a snapping hand. He also does come with his energy sword, which looks really nice. I do like the detailing on it. We do get the energy shield, which does attach to his wrist, so that's also really nice. Then we do get his energy backpack reflector, which looks really cool. I do like the way it came out. And then finally we do have 4 repulsor effects. We do have 2 that plug into his wrists, and then we have 2 that plug into his feet. Other than that, Iron Man here doesn't come with anything else. I think he comes with everything you would expect him to. So with that out of the way, let's actually move on to his details. So here we have a closer look at the Mark 85, and I really like the way this figure came out. It looks very nice. Now, there are some issues that I have with it, specifically with some of the paint right here. You can see on the eye, the gold paint did kind of slide into that little crevice right there, so that is a little bit unfortunate. But for the most part, it is very nicely painted. I do like the way it came out. As far as the unmasked head sculpts go, I really do like the likeness to Robert Downey Jr. If I can go ahead and not drop the helmet. Really do like that head sculpt. It's really nice. I love the way it looks, but I think my favorite head sculpt is the unmasked Tony head, and that is very well done. I do like it. Very good likeness to Robert Downey Jr. Probably the best we've seen in 1/6 scale. But as far as the rest of the helmet goes, they did a very good job with this helmet. I love the color scheme on it. The red is a very nice cherry red, and the gold is very nice. I love the color scheme of the Mark 85. It's probably my favorite color scheme out of all Iron Man's armors. So yeah, really do like it. So moving on to the rest of the figure, we do carry over that same color scheme right here, and I love the way the silvers work with the golds and the reds. They look fantastic together. We do have his arc reactor right here, which you can actually see the detailing in the arc reactor. It's not just a blue piece of plastic. You can actually see little indentations and markings for the arc reactor, so that looks really cool. Really do like the silver right here that peeks through the red. On the back we have a lot more detailing where we have the golds, the silvers going really nice with the red. So this figure is nicely painted. There's so many places that this figure could have been messed up, but they did a very good job. You can see some places where the paint did scratch, like right here on his arm. But overall, this paint is very clean, very solid, and very well done. Even his knuckles have detailing on them. That is phenomenal. Right here you can see just how much work went into it. The sculpt is beautiful. Really liking that. And one thing I really do like is that they did throw in that nano gauntlet. You can see right here it does have all the infinity stones on it, which look really nice. I do like the fact that we get both versions of the hand. We have this open hand, and then we got the snapping hand. Really cool. And then the repulsor there, even though you didn't really see it. But yeah, I'm really liking the way Iron Man came out. The armor looks very clean, and everything comes together really nicely. As you can see, if you move things around, it all fits into place perfectly. And that's one thing I really do like about this figure, is that it looks very clean. If you don't really know where the articulation points are, you really don't know where to look. But yeah, I love the way this figure came out. It is very well done. Especially right here on the knees, going to the ankles down here. Really do like that, and I do like the fact that they did articulate his toes and give him some heel articulation. These little plates do move forward and back, so they do help with posing, so that's really cool. That's something that I really wouldn't have thought about, but they actually did implement that in a specific way. As you can see, it closes up and opens up, so that is very nice engineering there. And then we do have the undersides of his feet, where we can see some more detailing here. We have the area for the repulsor, and then some more detailing on his feet. So overall, this Iron Man figure has a lot of detail. Mafex spared no expense on this figure. I love the amount of work that went into it. Just the amount of detailing on him with the armor plating, the reds, the silvers, the golds, they all look fantastic. So I really can't be upset at how this figure looks. How does he function? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's when we have a look at his articulation. But first, we're going to compare him to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have Iron Man posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Iron Man posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure in a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Iron Man posed next to a Lightning Collection White Range and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. Here we have the Mafex Iron Man posed next to the Hasbro Endgame Iron Man. And for one final comparison, here we do have the Mafex Mark 85 Iron Man posed next to the Mafex Captain America and the Mafex Endgame Thor. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to his articulation. Now, Iron Man does have a lot of articulation here. He does have a double ball joint here in the head, which he can get really good movement there. That is the kind of articulation you want out of an Iron Man for his head movement. Looking down, he doesn't get too much movement, but that is because he does have one of those bent ball joints that Mafex has been adding. So right now, I do have it so that it gets more range going back than forward, which that's the way I'm going to have him displayed more than likely. He does have some really nice head tilt, which works really nicely. Then we do have a ball joint here at the neck, which does help with posing, although I have noticed that it does want to clash right here against his torso, so do be aware of how you're posing that, because you don't want to scratch up the paint right there. His arms are on butterfly joints, which do come out to about right there, which you can see they work very nicely, and I love the way they're integrated into the undersuit right here. That looks really cool. So that does move. It doesn't really move up and down. It's just your basic butterfly joint that hinges out. No backwards movement, unfortunately. It just sits itself back into place. But we do have a ball joint here at the shoulder, so that his shoulder does move around really freely. His shoulder pad here is on a hinge. It's a very loose hinge, but I do like it because it does get out of the way, and then it will sit back down once you get it into position. So very nice range there. Then he does go all the way around, no problem. We have a bicep swivel, which works fine. We have a double bend here in the elbow, giving him a lot of range there. I do like that. Then we have your standard ball hinge here at the wrist, which does have in and out movement as well as up and down, depending on how you have that joint situated. Then I believe he has a single ball joint here in the torso. It could be a double. I can't really look in there. Yeah, it might be a double because it does pivot forward and back, so that's the indicator that it is a double. So he does lean back and forward. Doesn't lean as far forward as you would like. If they had just cut this down a little bit more and integrated the top part more into the abdomen piece, I think it would function a little bit better. But it does rotate nicely, as well as give you some good side-to-side pivot. Now, his lower torso is a little bit hindered and restricted by his hips. You might be wondering, how is that possible? Well, because he has the drop-down hips that do continue the sculpt here, that does allow for some better movement here in the waist. But if you move his legs all the way up, it's the standard problem we see with some Mafex figures, where the hip is stopping it from moving to its full potential. So yeah, you do have to combat with the hip joints. As you can see, whenever I move his hip, it does want to push, or when I move his waist, it does want to push one of his hips down. So do keep that in mind when posing your figure, because again, that will scratch if you try forcing it. As far as his hips go, they do have drop down hinges. I believe that this part is just a cap. It doesn't seem to like move on its own. It just moves with the joint, so that has to be a cap covering the hip joint, which I really do like. His hips do go out to the side really nicely. We do have rotation. They do go back and forward, so that's really good range there. Again, we have rotation here at the thigh, double bend at the knee, no problem. I absolutely love the way that looks, and it goes back very nicely. Then we do have a hinge here at the ankle. Now I believe it does swivel. Yes, it swivels left and right, a little bit hindered by his armor right here, so do keep that in mind. But as I was talking about his ankle, because his heel here is on a ball joint, this part will pivot up as you bend his foot back, not limiting his articulation whatsoever, and it does hinge upward, and then you can just go ahead and close that heel joint. That's a really nice feature, and I really like the way it's engineered. Does get some rotation, like I said, but not a lot. He does have forward-facing pin for rocker ankle. We have a ball joint here at the heel, and then we do have a very stiff ball hinge here at the toes. So pretty good articulation on Iron Man, although his waist could have been engineered a little bit better so that this isn't an issue. This also does give Iron Man a little bit more height, but yeah, if they had just engineered it so that this wasn't as confined as it is, he would have better movement in the abdomen. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Iron Man posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Mafex Endgame Iron Man posed for my final thoughts, and overall, I'm absolutely blown away by this figure. I love the amount of detailing that Mafex was able to put into this figure, and I love the accessories he came with. Now, originally this figure was not going to come with the Robert Downey Jr. head sculpts or the Nano Gauntlet. That was something that Mafex included after this figure got delayed for a second time. So I am glad that they did go back and add in accessories for the people who had them on pre-order. And you know what? At no extra expense to the customer, so I really love the fact that they kept this figure's cost down, even throwing in some new accessories. I do think the Nano Gauntlet and the unmasked heads were a really nice addition to this figure, and it really does bring the figure together. The fact that you get all his accessories that we saw in Endgame, I absolutely love that little detail, and I do like the fact that we only have to pick up one Mafex Iron Man. If this was SH Figure Arts, we had to pick up at least 3 different Iron Mans just to have them with all the accessories. This right here, in my humble opinion, is probably the best Endgame Iron Man from any company. That includes Hasbro, Mafex, and SH Figure Arts. This is the one to get if you haven't already done so. Now, I did pick up my Iron Man from HobbyLink Japan, so I did pay about $80 for this Iron Man figure. It came out to about $110 after shipping, because shipping has gone up, but I'm absolutely blown away by this figure. I love it to no end. I really, really love this figure. If you are looking for this figure, unfortunately he is sold out on HobbyLink Japan and sites like AmiAmi. He's also sold out on Big Bad Toy Store, so if you are looking for this figure, you might have to get him second hand, or you might have to just wait till he comes in stock. Hopefully Big Bad Toy Store gets a run of in-stock merchandise and they're not just fulfilling pre-orders, because this is a very good Iron Man figure. I think it's the best version of the Mark 85 that we've gotten, and it looks really fantastic. If you don't already have this figure, I would really recommend you track this figure down. It is the best Endgame Iron Man that we got from any 6-inch company, and that is saying a lot. So I highly recommend Endgame Iron Man from Mafex. So with that out of the way, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, go check out all my other Mafex videos, as well as all my other action figure reviews. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you'd like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.